We live in a new age, and it's time for us to upgrade. Our tinfoil hats. Operation Tinfoil is a freedom-focused small business and trusted sponsor of this show. Their super comfortable new line of beanies and baseball caps will not only crown your skull in style, but each of these dome defenders is lined with a silver mesh that blocks up to 99% of EMF radiation from cell phone towers, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and yes, even 5G. We don't know what EMF radiation does to the brain long term, but neither do they, so don't be their guinea pig and don't wait around to find out. Get your stylish tinfoil hat of the future today at gettinfoil.com. Use the promo code SYSTEM for $10 off your order. Again, that's gettinfoil.com. Use the promo code SYSTEM for $10 off your order. Have you guys heard of Matt Miller? He's not only the guy who paints those amazing portraits of all your favorite heroes in the liberty movement and in pop culture, but he's also now an official sponsor of this show. From Murray Rothbard to Ron Paul, Dr. Robert Malone to Darth Maul, Matt Miller's Liberty Portraits has something fun for everyone to spice up your home or office and showcase your heroes. Go check out his incredible work at libertyportraits.com. Grab a print to impress your friends, hire him for a custom portrait, or bring him out to a festival to capture your event in real life in a beautiful and unique way. To find out more, just head over to libertyportraits.com. Once again, that is libertyportraits.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we made it. We made it through another week. We're still here. So far, so good. We're doing okay, and maybe we'll make it to another week, but hey, we're going to talk about some news, and there's going to be a lot of it, because we do this once a week, because that's all the news you need, and everybody else is wasting their time, and you're wasting your time being here. But let's see what's happening in the world together, and laugh at it. And you listening right now, go out, share the show with your friends, share it with your enemies, punish them, if you must, with Reed Coverdale is going to be here, and let's get weird.
All I ask is, if we have to give these bastards our lives, we give them hell before we do!
The tragedy of our day is the climate of fear in which we live.
Talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing.
I would ask the congressman to withdraw that comment and tell us that he really means that.
Half the stuff is what I call activist support.
I don't know what I said. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
The Bible commands that certain people be put to death.
Thieves or possesses weapons of mass destruction. 9/11 attacks were carried out by Al-Qaeda.
Handle the truth!
I remember that with that smoke. We are still here!
We have to say yes to social justice.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
That's right, it's a big club and you're not in it. Whoops, you're not supposed to be here yet. Hey guys, welcome back to the least comfortable show on the web, The System is Down, where we talk about the uncomfortable topics like conspiracies, politics, religion, a bunch of liberty drama bullshit, and everything that's going on in the world. And we're talking about all those things today. But before we do, I have to remind you guys about one very, very most important sponsor of the show. And that's you guys in the Downers Club. People like Justin Savoy, Justico Mitchell, Silas Lane, Denise Cox, David Bradley, Amy Lepore, Leanne, Autumn, Danielle, Gid Kid, Alex, something, Keith, Level Zero, Vanzot Media, Brian Johnson, Jack Casey, Javari, Ryan Mortensen. That's enough. All right, if you want to get your name on that list and possibly have it read incorrectly, go on over to patreon.com/The System is Down and sign up for the Downers Club right now. And you want to do it right now, or at least within the next hour or so, because we're going to be doing an after party today. Whether or not Reed is willing to stick around and endure this with me, it's going to happen. I'm going to do something. I've got a full lineup, and we're going to talk about a bunch of gay shit over there. So if you want to get even more weird, more raw, more offensive, more weekly content, go on over to patreon.com/The System is Down and sign up for that thing. And it also helps keep the show a show, because I don't make very much money, but it's nice when I do. So thanks. All right. So I like to talk about the news on Wednesdays. We like to look outside, watch the world burn, and have a good old laugh at it together. Because as the world burns, sometimes all you can do is laugh, and it's fine. It's fun to laugh alone when I must, but when I don't want to, I look for a really good, awesome, exciting guest that will bring a bunch of viewers and eyeballs to the show. And then when I can't find that, I bring Reed Coverdale. Reed, hey man. How's it going?
How's it going? Great to be here. Great to be here. Great to be here.
I don't believe you.
Me neither, but it's the best I had at the moment, so I went with it.
Yeah. Just autopilot already. Just starting off the show straight to the autopilot.
Why am I so grainy? Like, you're crystal clear, and I'm usually like pretty crisp, but I don't know. It looks like I'm broadcasting in from 1970 or something. I don't know what's up with that.
It does, and it's not my fault. And if you would like to fix it, probably leaving and coming back in would do the trick. But that's up to you.
It's not worth it.
All right, it might fix itself. And if you drop out at any point, just hop out and hop back in. But Reed, it's been I don't know, a few months since we've interacted, because I mostly interact on Twitter and in real life, and you don't think exist in either one of those things.
Yeah, it's true. Or my existence is at least questionable. I mean, have you seen me and my Twitter self in the same room together?
I haven't.
I mean, think about it.
I have not.
There you go.
I also haven't seen all the fake sock accounts with your name in them and your real account in the same social media platform together. So I don't know if those are you or not.
Well, I had a few people ask me, is this guy on Twitter whose name is not Reed Coverdale, is that you? And I was like, no. I mean, he's even saying it right in his name. He's not Reed Coverdale. I don't know how much more obvious it could be. But everyone, I mean, why would people think it's me if he's so explicitly saying he's not me? But yeah. I don't know.
These people need to learn to trust a little bit. Stop being so paranoid. If you read something on the internet, just assume that it's true, obviously.
Exactly.
Which is what we're going to do a lot of today. Reed, yes. Anything new going on in the New Hampshire neck of the woods, in trucker country, in Free State country? Anything that you want to shout out?
Well, Jeremy Kauffman's going to be on the ballot for you to vote for if you live in New Hampshire on November 8th. We also got some new advertisements on the horizon. Some new political ads we're going to be putting out. I actually have the Republican contender for U.S. Senate coming on my show next week. Most likely, I went to an event last night and sat down next to his wife and had a cordial conversation with
on
her.
Purpose?
And got her
or did you like
information?
Was it an accident, or did you seek her out?
That was sort of purposeful, but anyway, he'll be coming on the show, trying to get Maggie Hussein on the show as well, but she hasn't really answered any of my emails or anything.
After calling her Maggie Hussein, I mean, it's hard to imagine why she wouldn't come on your show.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I remember when Hussein was one of our greatest allies, so you know, I mean, she's just being.
I remember when he was our president.
Yeah, she's being very she's being very selective about the window of history she's choosing to look at me calling her Maggie Hussein through. So, you know, I think that's more of a her problem than a me problem.
Yeah, I'd say so. That it? Is that all that's going on?
I don't know. Yeah, that's about it.
Still banned off Twitter?
I was still banned off Twitter. I did try a couple accounts. One got banned in about 3 minutes, and the other one made it about 3 days. And then I had another one that made it about 2 weeks, where it was really not obvious at all that it was me. It was just like, I think it was Ulysses Liberty, and it had a picture of Meghan McCain crying over her father's casket. But I made that before the infamous tweet. So, you know, before the infamous tweet, it was a little bit more discreet, but then afterward, everyone was like, "Oh, hey, look who this is." So
right.
I got the boot eventually. So yeah, no Twitter. Help me out, Elon. I need you. You're
That's
my
right.
only hope.
That's right. And we're going to talk about all these things. We're going to talk more about Elon. We're going to talk more about Twitter. We're going to talk more about the infamous tweet. But this is my call to Elon Musk today. Says live now with Reed Coverdale, at Reed Coverdale. Which if you go to it, it's not there. Hey, Elon Musk, unban this guy within the next 2 hours, and we'll spend the rest of the show singing your praises, okay? So just a heads up and a forewarning that if we get word at some point, or if you guys keep hitting refresh on Reed Coverdale, and you guys find out, drop it in the comments, and we will literally spend the rest of the time singing Elon Musk's praises. Are you down with that, Reed?
We will. I mean, I'm down with it. I know a lot. Well, you probably do too, because your dad was a pastor or a priest or whatever.
Something like that.
I know lots of worship songs that I can just change out Yahweh and Jehovah and Jesus for Elon. So I got lots of content.
Yeah. Yes. He's a good father. That's who he is.
I was the worship leader at my church for 3 years. So
I still am.
Down pat. We're good to go.
I played drums on the worship team. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about things that are very not related to me playing drums on a worship team. But let's talk about some news. And we always do like to start out with the good news. And this whole Ukraine back and forth, I'm sure you know more about this stuff, foreign affairs, than I do, Reed, as we'll quickly find out. But this whole back and forth between Ukraine and Russia has been going on for a while. Kind of dipped down there and back up and down and up and dipped all the way down to the sea. And the good news is that Putin took a pretty hard hit this week when he bombed himself and his pipeline, the Nord Stream pipeline leak.
Yes.
Potentially causes largest methane release in record history. And this is from Forbes.com, so you know it's legit. Reed, you believe that Putin bombed himself, right?
Actually, we resurrected Colin Powell to give a speech to the United Nations, and he held up this little graph of, this little pictorial graph of how Putin had in fact attached a bomb to the Nord Stream 2 pipeline and destroyed it. So I think, given historical precedents, that's enough evidence to go on right there.
I'm convinced. I mean, why wouldn't he bomb himself? It's on the graph. Did you guys even look at the graph? I don't know what else you need.
I don't really know what else to say. I feel like this is a slam dunk.
Yeah, everybody seems to agree. Fox agrees. This is the 5 reasons why Russia is likely behind the Nord Stream industrial sabotage. And, of course, there are a bunch of really compelling reasons, like, let's see. First, Putin has the motivation, okay? Second, damaging or destroying critical infrastructure is consistent with Russia's warfighting. So, they're okay. I'm not judging, man. You play your war games however you want, I suppose. Third, Russian military strategists have pondered a scenario in which Russia would target adversaries' civilian infrastructure during a conflict. So some people have contemplated this once. Unfortunately, other people have contemplated this type of thing as well, like the Honorable President Joseph Robinette Biden.
If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control?
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
Will you commit today to turning off and pulling the plug on Nord Stream 2? You didn't mention it. You haven't mentioned it.
As I already.
So we're going to do it. And how we're going to do it? We're going to do it. And we don't need to just ... Just know that we're going to do it. Read. Sarcasm aside, there is the typical war stuff going on that we've seen within our lifetimes of this is definitely happening, so we need to go attack now. Some people are saying, hey, Biden. Some people are saying it's definitely Putin. Where do you land on this? And I bet I could guess it's somewhere within like the Operation Northwoods area.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the only reason I can see Putin would do this is to then blame it on us and use it as an excuse to escalate things. But I don't think he really needs that excuse. I mean, he's already there anyways. He's already been...
He was the one escalating. He didn't need a reason other than what he had already.
So I don't really get the rationale behind that. As far as like any blatant, like straightforward reasoning, I mean, it totally makes sense the United States would attack the pipeline because Germany's getting, they're getting gas from Russia, and we want, Europe to not be dependent on Russia for, natural resources or anything. So it totally makes sense for us to try to cut it off, like Biden just laid out in that press conference or whatever that was. He has been explicit, and so was Trump, by the way. Like, a lot of people forget this, but Trump actually went and berated the United Nations. Yeah, there we go.
I'm
You're
ready.
ahead of me on this one, so yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, it's been policy from the United States to not want this Nord Stream pipeline to exist for a while.
And Trump's reason was that we give so much money to NATO and protect Germany, and then they screw us in trade. It's like, I've got a really easy solution for you, and it has nothing to do with trade. It has more to do with you supporting them through NATO.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm rather certain it was either the United States or some sort of combined effort by NATO or some country on our side of the war. I really don't see any good explanation for why Russia would do this.
Right. Why do you love Putin so much, Reed?
Well, he's based,
Sure.
On a sort of serious note, whoa, I would have I would have a little bit more respect for the Israelis if they were just like, yeah, we're going to fucking murder all these people and push them off their land, and we're going to take it for our own, because then they're at least being honest about what they're doing. But they try to wrap everything and oh, we're the only democracy in the Middle East. And, it's like when Trump said we're staying in Syria to protect the oil. That was okay, I mean, that's awful, but at least he's saying why we're staying in Syria. So
I don't approve your awful behavior, but at least you're not lying to me about it.
Exactly.
Just
people have forgotten.
You can spit in my face, just don't slap me while you do it. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, people have forgotten what the word based actually means, and it's really about being yourself even when it's not popular, or you're not stating something that most of the people in the room will agree with you on. So, the Saudis are based. I mean, they're awful, but they are based. They tell you yeah, we're just going to murder all these people, and we're just going to blow these people up. We're going to starve these people to death. And yeah, we did hack that guy up with a bone saw. They're not shy about that type of shit at all. They're just yep, Where all these other countries, they try to oh no, we did this because of this, 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 and this. It's no. We know why you did it. So, I guess from some sort of on some level, I do have a little bit more respect for Putin than other leaders, because he at least says yeah, we are going to invade Ukraine, and we're going to, kill all of these people that have been bombing the Donbass for however long. And we are going to take these territories. We want them. We are going to take them. This isn't any sort of diplomatic strategy we're using. We are just going to bomb the shit out of this until you guys let us have this. So I don't know. The straightforwardness gets points from me. So I will concede that about Putin and the Russians.
Yeah. Carlin Borisenko says, why does it look like Reed is wearing ribbons in his hair?
Oh, these things?
That is cute. I like it.
Yeah.
Little pigtails.
Yeah, you like those? I should just put ribbons on them. That would look kind of cute.
It would. Anyway, so we are Biden's using this already for the very purpose that one would do this, and it's to push us into something more, something war. And I did have one other clip here that I want to play. This is who is this again? Victoria Nuland, who had this to say about the Nord Stream pipeline, and it's not going to play because it's Twitter. Oh, come on,
Elon.
With regard to Nord Stream 2, we continue to have very strong and clear conversations with our German allies, and I want to be clear with you today. If Russia invades Ukraine, one way or another, Nord Stream 2 will not move forward.
Would you call that based? She's saying something,
I guess,
something that at least should be very unpopular that she really believes.
Yeah,
clearly.
That she really believes. Yeah. That's the problem. Is I feel like based has certain connotations, not just saying something that's unpopular. But whether or not it's supposed to, it does now. But
so only Putin, not Victoria Nuland.
I guess I am impressed with the amount of honesty from Biden and Victoria Nuland, and at least about we do want to kill this and we will make it stop, and then afterward trying to cover it up. But I don't know. So they're halfway there at least. You got to give them that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's I mean, to guys like me, and I'm sure you, when you hear about something like this happening, the first thought, like even before looking into it, I was like, bullshit. No, not buying it. Bullshit. And you've got, you know, if it was us, hypothetically, very hypothetical, obviously. If it was us, like the people who are doing it are the people who are concerned about the world ending from climate change, and so they bombed a giant methane pipe in the ocean and released more like methane gas into the atmosphere than has ever been released before.
Yeah, but this was to stop Putin, and Putin is literally Hitler, which is literally January 6th, which is literally worse than climate change.
Right.
So
I
the
mean,
rationale actually adds up.
as far as climate change goes, this should be like cow 9/11. Like if cow farts are dangerous, then this is a next level. This is like a Bill Gates farm.
You mean
cow
cow
farts.
January 6th, right?
Right.
'Cause
Cow
it's worse
January
than
6th.
9/11.
Yes.
Mhm.
Hamuary 6th. If it was pigs, that joke would have worked much better. Anyway.
Yes.
So yeah, at best, if they are found out to have done this, they are war criminals, and some might even say they're hypocrites. But I would we're gonna move on from this, but I would recommend everybody look into some things like Operation Northwoods in your free time when you got nothing to do. Maybe you're pooping on the toilet and want to see how your government's been lying to you since always, and then let me know if you think they're more trustworthy today than they were in 1962. But yeah, moving on. Does somebody want to do a Twitter check, a Reed Twitter check? Can we get somebody on that?
Do it.
All right.
Do it.
All right. Because, yeah, we do have to at least touch on the obvious main story. But every time I do a show and I'm like, all right, I've got this stuff figured out. I know what I'm going to talk about. Got my main article. Then something comes out like on Tuesday, the day right before it. That's like a big story, like frickin' Elon. Oh, hold on. Let me pull you back up. Where are we at?
No.
Oh. Elon.
Still nothing.
The hell, bro?
Let's go, Elon. Clock's ticking.
That's right. So, in major reversal, Elon Musk again proposes buying Twitter at full price, and it seems like this one is going to stick because I haven't dug into it all that much as to the reasons why, but it's like the same price point that they had originally negotiated on, like the $44 billion. I heard there were like leaks of text messages and stuff. Do you know much about that?
Nope.
All right. News.
Leaks of text messages. Wow.
Yeah, something about Elon text messages or something. Somebody said, like, it was just in passing, like some stuff was coming out about him and he just wanted to wrap this up and move on and not go through the court process and everything. I don't know if that's true. I don't really care. Like, I don't know how bad your texts are that you want to spend $44 billion to keep them from coming out. But my God, like that certainly doesn't make me trust Elon more than I already did. But yeah, I don't trust the guy. What are your thoughts on Elon Musk in general and this whole deal, man?
Yeah, I'm not really an Elon fan either, but I think changing of the guard can only be beneficial. I don't think it could get much worse than it is right now.
Well, we thought that about Jack Dorsey too.
True, but I mean, it seems to me that Elon's incentives are going to be toward free speech instead of away from it. I don't know. I could be completely wrong about that. I mean, my original reasons for not liking Elon is the whole electric car thing. Like, I know that's probably the way of the future, but I've just never been a fan of that move. So I was always kind of skeptical of him from the beginning. But
is it because of the mining, or because of the self-driving cars killing people, or is it because of something else?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
same.
No, always.
And I feel the same way about the brain chip. As concerned as I am about electric cars controlling you, yeah, brain chips.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the electric cars, this is a tiny tangent here I'm going to go off on. Like, everyone is so concerned about getting vehicles off of fossil fuels, while the grid that is going to be charging all these electric cars still runs on mostly coal and natural gas.
Yeah.
And that's always just been a huge like political stunt to me to try to revolutionize how we drive cars, or, you know, other areas of overhauling the energy industry. But yeah, the whole Neuralink thing with, I don't know, like I don't I don't really have an overall positive opinion of him. I just think that maybe he's, I think he's kind of like Trump, like
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Not necessarily good in any way, but probably his incentives are just not the same as the people who are pushing everything in a certain direction. Maybe he's going to have some pushback. So I think it'll be interesting to see him take over and hopefully beneficial, but I don't really know.
Yeah, I agree. And they're basically the same in my head as far as Trump and Elon. He's either the devil incarnate to some, or he is God's savior to the others. And I'm just like, dude, like I posted yesterday, Elon Musk will save us just as much as Trump did, because
good one.
I love that Trump pissed off all the right people. But that's just not good enough for me to trust you when you give me a whole bunch of reasons not to trust you. Same for Elon's. Like, if he comes in and he like shuts down Twitter entirely, I'm like, cool, I'm along for the ride. Like, I'm chaotic neutral. Let's see what happens. But like people acting like this is like it'll be good for free speech. Allegedly, we don't really know if he's taking it private, he can really do whatever he wants, and he can change his mind on that as well. I don't think it'll go well for him business wise, but he could, and we don't have any real reason to think that he won't over time go with whatever the culture decides in the future as well when the pressure heats up. But he is the type of guy that doesn't succumb to pressure, kind of like Trump, as much as most do, which it's like, yeah, you want that guy, like, I don't want to, like, I want the richest people bashing on my enemies sometimes. Like, that's fun. It's fun. And even if there's some bad outcomes, like, obviously I don't mean, like, locking people up or hurting people, but I mean, like, as far as pissing people off, which they'll call it terrorism because he, I don't know, lets people tweet. Actually, let's merge the two worlds. Do you think that Trump will come back? Do you think he's said that he won't?
Twitter?
Yeah.
He said that he voluntarily won't, even if he's allowed to.
That's what he said, because Truth Social is going so great.
Yeah. I highly doubt that. I'm sure he would come back to Twitter if allowed.
Yeah. I think it would be a ego issue for him to come back, but also he would, like, he's a business guy first, and he's going to see the benefit of it if he's allowed to come back and how big of a splash that would make, obviously.
I'm sure he'd boycott it for a little while. Like, if it was offered to him to come back,
he'll just sneak back on quietly.
Yeah, just a little tease, like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm too important for you guys. And then after a couple months, when everyone forgets about him again, then he'll come back on. So
I hope he pulls like a Kanye West on Instagram move where he just keeps getting on and then deleting everything and then posting ominous things. Then, like, QAnon, basically. I hope he turns into actual QAnon with his Twitter, just seeding out nonsense like Kofifi. And we all assume that means that he's going to take over or something. I don't know.
Dude, the Kofifi thing was the most incredible phenomenon I'd ever witnessed. Like, there were people who were just like, yeah, it was a typo, and then there were other people like, no, this is like a
it's the White Rabbit
something or other, blah, blah, blah. And then there were other people who were like, no, this is like from ancient Greek, and this is, connected to biblical terms. And I was just like, wow. You guys will read into anything you can. That's all this proves.
And in reality, he like sat on his phone wrong, and it tweeted out some letters, and then
it's the ultimate Trumpism. Like, everyone's extrapolating what they want from it, and there he is, just like, what?
Right.
It's just a dumb mistake. But
yep, and he'll own it. He'll take full credit for it if it works, and then it was somebody else's fault if it went wrong. But yeah, Elon, I don't know. Hopefully he brings Reed back. We'll keep checking. But yeah, basically Elon Musk is the African American of Donald Trump. And speaking of African Americans, Kanye West and Candace Owens are white now. I'm not sure why that keeps showing your face every time I go over to the screen, but oh well. So Kanye West and Candace Owens. Did you hear about this one, Reed?
I saw it. Yeah, White Lives Matter.
Yeah.
But they're wearing opposite color sweaters with, you see that, like, they're an inversion of each other. That's kind of cool.
I'm not sure if that's a joke or if you think it's cool.
I don't know. It's not that cool.
I didn't think so, but I don't know.
It's what struck me most about the thing. Like, everyone's talking about how outrageous this is, and I was like, oh, that's cool. They're wearing like inverted sweatshirts,
Neat.
but I don't know.
Neat. Yeah, he's making this bold statement, and here's what Entertainment Tonight had to say about it. And it's not going to play, because why the hell would it play? Yeah. 1 second.
Oh, here it comes. Nuclear holocaust.
Oh, good. Now we get to Jack Daniels. Tennessee whiskey. Mm-hmm. I already sat through this commercial once to have this ready to go for the show, so I wouldn't have to sit through the ad for the show. And thank you, Yahoo Entertainment. You're still a thing for some reason.
Another Kanye West controversy. This time over shirts sporting the phrase, quote, "White Lives Matter."
Well, Paris is the church of fashion.
On Monday, the rapper surprised fans at Yeezy's Paris Week fashion show by posing it up in the design with polarizing conservative commentator Candace Owens.
I believe our government is interested in liberating Ukrainians like I believe that the Black Lives Matter riots were about liberating Black Americans, which is to say, not at all.
The political pundit posted these photos on Twitter. No captions on the pics. It's worth noting the anti-defamation.
I like how they point out no captions on the pics. All it takes is for you to have these 3 words on a shirt to become a news story, and that's what happened. If you're Kanye
Let's do
West,
it.
Yeah, I don't think it'll work for us. I mean, I don't think people would be as surprised from us either.
I think there's an account on Twitter that could tweet this out and get on the news again, as they were recently. So,
I have no comment. And
that would make headlines.
And I hope that definitely doesn't happen. Wink. Wink.
League condemns the saying as a, quote, white supremacist phrase. Born out of a, quote, racist response.
I like how their quotes are 2 words. Out of a, quote, racist response. Like, they're not willing to say that it is a white supremacist phrase or that this is a racist response or any, like, they're unwilling to take ownership of any of this at all. They're like, we're just reporting the news,
They're
y'all.
quoting other people, yeah.
Right. Somebody said, like, it doesn't matter who, but somebody said it's a, quote, racist response. Okay.
It is a genius.
More information is needed there.
It's a genius way to go about it. Like, this candidate could possibly be, quote, the worst candidate to ever win an election. We're not making an endorsement. This is just what we've heard other people say.
Right. And I mean,
without saying anything,
they don't even have to be lying about it. They could say it out loud into the air right before they write it down, because they don't have to say who they're quoting even. I said it's a racist response.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter movement.
I like that.
ET's reached out to Kanye's reps about the controversial fashion statement. So far, he's provided no explanation, even though he gave interviews about his new collection backstage.
And it looks like there's just everything pulled on over the head.
Yeah, that was the idea. There was no zippers. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
The shocking shirt.
Now they're taking all of the dumbest Kanye clips, which, in fairness, aren't hard to find because he says a lot of stupid things. But he did come out. They said that I don't know if this was like an earlier article or what, but he did at one point, I heard, come out and condemn Black Lives Matter and say that we're at this point now where you have to see this as the fraud that it is, that's the scam that it is. And so good on him for like making people talk about this thing and making people think about it, because I mean, they're not thinking that hard, because all it takes is this image for people to go, oh, these are internalized white supremacists. And that's what we're going with, because as white people, we're allowed to make that call about 2 black people and their political statement. Read, any thoughts?
Yeah, well, I thought black people couldn't be racist. So, I mean, because racism has to be institutionally supported.
Yep.
So they can be racist if they're saying that white lives matter if they're black people still.
Right.
Is the new rule I'm picking up on here? Is that how it works?
Yes. I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's the only way I can make sense of it. Yeah.
I mean, it is confusing. I thought black people literally couldn't say anything racist because they are black people. And
we covered articles.
compressed.
headlines in actual news outlets saying there's no such thing as reverse racism, which, before I heard that, I didn't know there was a such thing as reverse racism. Reverse racism is where a black person is racist against a white person, and they called that reverse racism, and then they immediately said, and also that term we just made up, it doesn't exist because black people can't be racist. It's like, all right, well.
But now it does exist,
right?
If you're a black person,
unless you're black and right wing, yes. Unless you're black and not regime. Yeah. And in fairness, I'm not a huge fan of either one of these people. I miss the days back when Kanye West wrote music. It's been a hot minute since I've heard an actual song out of the guy, no matter how many albums he's released in the last couple of years.
I have to admit that I like Candace Owens a lot more than I used to. Like that quote she was just saying about Ukraine, that wasn't exactly an anomaly. She said a lot of base shit about NATO and the war in Ukraine. And I was like, isn't this the person who used to work for Toilet Paper USA? Like, I mean, goddamn, she used to have like the most fucking awful George W. Bush like talking points, but now she's kind of based on a lot of this stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, if you're right,
Can't
you're
hate her
right.
as much as I want to. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't hate a black woman as much as the media would like me to. I'm sorry. If she has if she has good things to say, great. Yeah, I've never been like a big fan or anything, but I'll see the clips here and there, and if they're good, great. If they're bad, great. Same with frickin' Warhawk, what's his name, Ben Shapiro. Like, there's some time, like, I enjoy listening to some of his stuff. I think he has good takes on some stuff. Same with Matt Walsh and all the Daily Wire guys. When I agree with you, fine, but that doesn't, just because I agree with you on a point doesn't mean that I'm going to be suckered into a war with Ukraine or anything like that. So
yeah, dude, Ben Shapiro has absolutely pummeled some like transgender blue-haired 14-year-olds. It's incredible the points he makes.
As a grown-ass man, yeah, real impressive sometimes. I mean, they are fun to watch, but at the same time, it's like, bro, you calling it a win when you beat up retards?
Yeah.
Anyway, so speaking of, what's my transition here? Speaking of, I don't know. Oh, no, actually.
Black people? Oh, whoa.
No. I mean, I would never. I mean, I would speak of them. I wouldn't exclude them or anything. I don't know what the rules are, but
it's a touchy subject.
It really is. Where's my thing here? Why don't I have it? Oh, here it is. So this brings us to a segment called Freak of the Week, where you guys submit a thing for us to talk about, and it is related to some things that we talked about last week. So this is from, I meant to have it pulled up, and I don't have it pulled up, and it doesn't really benefit you for me to say that it was from somebody unless I tell you who that somebody was. It was...
you can just be like, and quote, and then I know it's from somebody.
And quote... This is from Mayor Kate at Kate_Nicole, Niicole on Twitter, and so that this is Freak of the Week.
Is she a mayor?
This program was made possible by viewers like you.
Get what you deserve!
All your days are belong to us.
No one can stop us from enjoying this, so enjoy it! Stop crying!
I don't know if she's a mayor. Sorry, I cut you off there.
Yeah. I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, yeah, the question I asked.
Her name is Mayor Kate on Twitter, and that's all I know. But now I lost the article. So we're doing great here. Real professional. But this comes from thecountersignal.com, so you know it's legit. And this is about the genetically modified mosquitoes that are vaccinating humans. Whoa,
that's a genius idea.
Right. If only conspiracy theorists had thought of this years ago.
This is the first time I know of hearing it, actually.
Really? I mean, we've been talking about this for a while. I mean, it's mostly like all this stuff. I'm just like, what if they had mosquitoes that they did that to? Like, that'd be a brilliant idea. And then like a week later, it's fuck. Now I got to come back and talk about how it's reality now. Great. Like, it's great to be right, but sometimes you'd rather not be right when the situation is like vaccine mosquitoes, but yeah. I don't know. So this article...
That's not a good Alex Jones is right moment.
No. I mean, are they ever good? When Alex Jones is right, it's always horrible shit. So
yeah, I know.
A box full of genetically modified mosquitoes successfully vaccinated a human against malaria in a trial funded by the National Institute of Health. The study involved about 200 hungry mosquitoes biting a human subject's arm. Human participants placed their arms directly over a small box full of the bloodsuckers. Now, as bad as you think it is to stick your arm into a box full of 200 mosquitoes and let them all bite you at the same time, vaccinated. Good job, science. The question, though, obviously, is, well, they say, we use the mosquitoes like they're 1,000 small flying syringes. Said nothing alarming there. Said researcher Dr. Sean Murphy, as reported by NPR. Now, the only white pill in this story for me is, does it take all 200 mosquitoes? Like, do you have to be swarmed by a flock of mosquitoes, in order to get injected? Is
the
cost-benefit analysis good there?
Yeah, is it like a boost? Like, there has to be a sequence, like you get this one, and then 2 weeks later you get this one, because that seems kind of hard to plan with mosquitoes, you know?
Right. Well, last week, the reason why this was brought up is because last week we talked about an article where this guy, it's just a video of this guy showing this mosquito that's on him, and he like pulls the wings back, and there's a number 36 printed on this mosquito, and that's all we know. But
it's probably natural.
Yeah, I mean, God has a weird sense of humor sometimes. These are probably all natural too. Now the real question though is, other than forcibly injecting people with vaccines, what is the benefit to using mosquitoes to inject them with vaccines?
Mosquitoes are systemically oppressed, just like black people.
Right.
So if you have a systemically oppressed,
Did you just compare
ecosystem,
black people to mosquitoes?
Yeah, I totally did.
Whoops. No, I was comparing mosquitoes to black people, not black people to mosquitoes. It's different.
Huge difference. Like, mosquitoes should be honored that I would compare them to black people.
Yeah.
It's, you can't think it's you can't speak ill of mosquitoes, just like you can't. I don't know where I'm going with this. I have no idea, but
I'll bail you out. Now, the reason why the irony to this, I'm gonna try and turn this into something.
You're gonna try to fucking. You're like Victoria Nuland with the screw the EU phone call. Like, just make it happen, and
Yeah. Now, in fairness, the black community are some more anti-vax than a lot of white folks, so they will be potentially the ones most affected by this. And I mean, you could send them all to like some African country where there's a lot more mosquitoes, and maybe they would. Now, if I give the benefit of the doubt to the NIH, maybe that's their plan. We can't send a plane of vaccines to wherever, Zimbabwe or I don't know, places. We can't send a plane full of them, so we're going to send 200 mosquitoes per person there. They'll just fly themselves, they'll find their target, they'll swarm and attack, and then everybody will be safe. And we'll do that once a month or twice a month, depending on where the mosquito vaccine boosters start to be needed.
I like it. Also, there's no religious exemption to mosquito bites, right? Like, they were trying to find that religious exemption loophole for not getting vaccinated. You can't do that with mosquito bites.
Right. So again, other than forcibly vaccinating people, I don't understand the value of this experiment in any way whatsoever. It's almost as stupid as, I don't know, sticking beagles' heads into mesh nets and letting sand fleas devour them for hours and hours and slitting their vocal cords so they can't cry about it. They can't be bitches. Hypothetically, I mean, I don't know any world where that would happen, but
no.
Yeah, the NIH might have something to do with it if it did happen. But if you're worried about vaccine mosquitoes, don't worry, because the vaccines are completely safe and effective. We know that for many reasons, and this being one of them.
Well, this is not a video I want to make.
Not a video I want to watch.
And it's kind of hard to make because as I'm
hard to
watching
watch.
myself,
me too.
I see what I'm going to say, which is I have been diagnosed with Bell's palsy, which is paralysis on one side of the face. For
Yeah,
me, it's,
clearly.
This side here.
Uh-huh.
The left, obviously.
I thought it was the other side.
So I got it about 2 weeks after getting my vaccine. And I had a rough go with the vaccine.
Yeah, I'll say.
And I guess still am. But I have to say that I would do it again because it's what we have to do to see people. So, I don't know why I'm making this video, but here's my weird smile.
So
This
I don't know.
you know how with cigarettes they for a while they like forced them to put like pictures of like lung cancer on cigarette cartons. This should go on every single label for vaccines from here forward.
That face right there.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know anything about this person, but to me, this was satirical, or not like necessarily. I mean, she might actually have Bell's palsy, but I feel like
she's faking.
No. I don't think she's faking the Bell's palsy. I think she's faking the support for the vaccine. I think it's supposed to be ironic, but I don't know anything about her, so maybe this is like serious. But to me, this read like I don't know.
I don't know, dude.
But.
I mean, I would like to think that nobody is this brainwashed, but it also strikes me more as she's like, my life is falling apart, and what am I going to do about it? Am I going to get angry about it? No. Am I going to, do so, like, try, like, I don't know, just try some sort of lawsuits or something? I know that the vaccine companies are protected, but she's not going to do that. She's going to go on social media and ask everybody to feel sorry for her as she says, yeah, see this thing that I did to myself? I would do it again because my government said do it again if you want to see your grandma or whatever the fuck. No, I don't think this is fake. Like, it's clearly not fake, but I don't think that she's being sarcastic even. I think that she's fucking broken. I mean, clearly she's broken, but like, mentally and physically.
So if I were forced to make a video, if I were forced to take a vaccine that fucked me up and I wanted to make a big impact, I feel like making a video like that in a satirical way would be more impactful than saying, wow, I wish I hadn't gotten the vaccine, if you can prove the point of irony. But maybe not. Maybe she's sincere. I don't know anything about her, so
I don't either.
You'll leave that up to agnosticism.
I hope she's just got a weird sense of humor, but I don't think that's the case. She seems more like an idiot to me, and that seems very, very plausible explanation for multiple reasons. Not just because she's a woman. Not just because she's a woman, okay?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad she did her part and stopped the spread.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Yeah. Thank you for your service. She took that bullet for all of us. She is better than either you or me, I suppose, in that sense.
That's true.
Now, speaking of broken people, germaphobe Howard Stern left his apocalypse bunker, which is, I assume, what he called it, since it's in quotes, but we don't have to say who quoted it. For first time in 2 years for A-list diner with Jennifer Aniston, Jimmy Kimmel, and John Hamm, and admits he's been afraid of catching COVID. Now,
I did not realize he was in quarantine for 2 years.
I don't think anybody did. Probably because nobody watches Howard Stern.
No one pays attention. Yeah.
I mean, when the guy went from like edgy, badass, whatever, like, I don't know, having people strip on his show and stuff to like this hiding in a bunker, scared of the sniffles. And there's that one clip that I even included in the anti-mandate ad that me and Spike did, where he's just like, he went off on this tirade about like, fuck your freedom, fuck your liberty, I don't care, I want my freedom to live. It's like, well, clearly, I mean, Biden said the pandemic was over 2 months ago, and you just waited, or I don't know how long, a while ago, and you waited till now to come out and breathe air. If you wanted your freedom to live, sir, I suppose that was up to you at some point, because it's been a hot minute since we've all figured out that this thing's bullshit. So get with the times.
Well, I think what it was, he said he wants his freedom to live, and then he ended up watching the Freedom or Die music video, and that's what eventually convinced him to come out of his hiding and embrace reality.
That's it. It took him a while to find the video, but once he did, there was no turning back.
Yeah, I mean, it just causes the scales to fall from your eyes immediately.
Right. Especially Clint's verse. Anyway,
and here's this guy Skyping in from some high rise in Florida for his verse.
Hey, I told him send me a couple takes. All right. He did not. That's on him. I worked with what I had. Anyway,
I thought it was great. I loved it.
I liked it. Now with this, Howard Stern is just now coming out of hiding, so he's clearly more than afraid of COVID, I would think. I mean, he has to be some sort of agoraphobic. Did he legitimately not leave his home? Did he not go out and get sunlight? Did he not get fresh air ever in 2 years? Actually, I would imagine, because he says that it's been since the beginning of the pandemic, which I don't know who's counting, but it's been a little bit more than 2 years at this point. And if he hasn't, how long before this guy dies because his entire immune system is shot to shit?
Yeah, I mean, I have even noticed a difference in my immune system. I have gotten a cold like 6 times this year. I usually only would get it once, but I didn't get it for 2 years.
Just think of how much worse it would have been if you got vaccinated, though. Am I right?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I didn't get sick at all in 2020 or 2021, and I think it was because, you know, there were just fewer people out and about, and everyone's wearing masks and shit. But once people stopped and we tried to go back to normal, I got a cold like 2 times in a row, and then a couple months later I got it 2 times in a row again, and then I just got it a few weeks ago again. And I think that was just because the immune system had been on it had been working part-time. So then once you were actually put back in a situation where you're exposed to all these people all the time, it your immune system isn't able to fight back the way it was. So yeah, if you were literally in your bunker without sunlight, then yeah, things must be bad. But I don't know what that, him being in a bunker might be like a 30-acre
sure,
complex with a swimming pool and a
is.
sun tanning deck. I have no idea what his living situation is, but it's probably better than a concrete bunker.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, how do you not realize that you're a crazy person 2 years inside, even if it's just on your property? I'm sure he has a mansion. I'm sure he's pretty comfortable and has people running to get him food and doing whatever he needs. He's probably been enjoying it as an agoraphobe, as he seems to be. But how do you still, how do you come out and admit this after 2 years? Like, as the edgy risk taker guy, it's like, I was so scared of this thing that I went above and beyond all the things that the government told me to do. Like, how many boosters do you think this guy has? I'm guessing 12.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, the only good thing I see, there's a couple. One is like the destruction of the belief that we need to go to college because so many people just got degrees online or work from home or whatever. But on top of that, the other good thing to come out of this was people finally learned if you're sick, you're supposed to stay home. Like for me, that was a thing before 2020. I mean, if you're sneezing and coughing all over the place, I would always just take the day off because otherwise you're going to get everyone else at work sick and you're just going to cost the company more money. I would just take a sick day. But lots of people didn't think that way. And now apparently it's mandatory that you think that way. So I think that's one of the only good things to come out of all this. But
I don't even know if that's true. I mean, the guy that wasn't going to take a sick day before is also the guy that was calling everybody pussies the whole way through COVID, and he's probably not more inclined to take a sick day now than he was then.
No, because I always took sick days, but I never got vaccinated and didn't really give a shit about COVID for the most part. So,
Gotcha. So wrapping up our COVID segment here, I don't know why we're still even talking about this thing in any way whatsoever, but it's still, I don't know, it's still fucking up faces, and until it stops doing that, we'll keep talking about it. But the most important thing to come out of COVID and the most rewarding thing, of course, is that Fauci and his wife's net worth increased by $5 million during the pandemic, analysis finds, and that's all. That's good. Good for him. Good. Yay.
Good job, Fauci.
Glad you're doing well. Working his way up in the world. He's supposed to be quitting any day now, right?
I think so. Man, there's a guy who will get off scot-free with everything that he has pushed for before 2020 as well. Like just all the, everything going back decades.
By the way, guys, in the comments section, I should have mentioned at some point before the first hour of the show was over that if you would like me to read your comments for sure, put a big, in all caps, fake super chat there, because I'm not allowed to take super chats because YouTube hates everyone. And yeah, so just put in all caps fake super chat. I'll try to get to it if I do, but we've got a lot to talk about, so make sure it's worth saying. If it's not worth saying, just comment to the normal plebs, and they'll, I'm sure, appreciate your dumb comment. But we do have to talk briefly, jumping back to Nord Stream just a bit, because there's more from our beloved President Joseph Robinette Biden, and that is the way that I fill the time while I'm looking for this button that sets us up for the Remembering Biden segment.
And Corn Pop was a bigger big shot. Nazi fags. You ain't black.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
That's right. It's Remembering Biden, the part of the show where we remember our beloved president, because God knows whatever we're about to talk about right now, he will never remember, and we want the children in the future to be able to find out about it so that they know how much, so that they give the man all due credit, all due respect. This was Biden at a FEMA thing, talking about the hurricane stuff, all the HARP stuff. I mean, hurricane, very natural climate change, climate disaster stuff. And I said the Nord Stream thing because he was asked a question about it at the end, and I thought it was worth including it here. But really, the most important part is what happens right after, and the end might shock you.
Responsible for the rupture of the Nord Stream pipeline?
Let's stick with this, okay?
This is an important international issue.
There's a lot of important international issues, but we're here to talk about America. Okay.
Now, do you agree with that right now? Like, there's a part of me that's like, yeah, I get it. I would probably say the same, like, giving him benefit of the doubt that he's not a monster. I would probably be like, dude, we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about the hurricane issue. And, but there's also a part of me that's like, just answer the fucking question, bro. Did you do it? Like, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, well, he did do it, so he can't just give a simple like, "Yeah, I did it," and then end the conference. So
right, we can't just say Ray Epps wasn't a Fed. I mean, that would be some sort of contractual.
All things considered, you have to admit that was a great answer. I mean, for Biden, off the cuff like that, we're here to talk about America. It's
basically
pretty good.
said,
I don't even know if I would have come up.
Shut
with
up.
That.
Hey.
Yeah.
You see the FEMA?
Look.
Shut up.
Yeah. Look fat.
Right.
If he had said that, look fat, we're here to talk about America, I would probably vote for him again in 24. Honestly.
Agreed. Now, as I said, the real interesting part is not his answer. It's what happens right after.
Important international issues, but we're here to talk about America. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. President.
He just wanders off like as I was saying before we started this show to read, I was like, how many times can we really talk about Biden getting lost wandering off stage before it's just like, oh, so you're saying Biden finished a speech? Because this is really just par for the course. It's not even news. It's not even interesting anymore. It's like Biden gets lost. It's just, it's in the zeitgeist now. But this one, if he had kept if he kept going and the people around him didn't make a scene about it, it would have been fine. But the response makes it pretty apparent that he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, and he doesn't even like occur to him to look back and find out and or find out who's yelling at him or anything like that. But
important international issues, but we're here to talk about America.
Let's watch this one more time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Wait, hold up, stop. No. Oh shit! I guess we better follow him. And 30 seconds later, they're like, I guess we need to follow this guy so he doesn't look like a jackass.
Yeah, good old Joe. I mean, it was kind of interesting to see him give that kind of cogent response to suddenly wandering off in the middle of nowhere. But like you said, I mean, is
it really cogent? I think you're giving him a little bit too much credit for saying, I'm not going to answer your question.
I don't know. We are talking about Biden here. I mean,
the bar was set low.
If we were talking about anybody else, I'd agree with you. But for him, that was pretty good. And yeah,
the bar was set Nord Stream pipeline low, and he blew up both of them.
Yeah, but him wandering off stage is like hearing that Iran has a nuke. You know, it's just like, oh, yay, okay, cool. Like, thanks for the news. You know, but
or like hearing that Biden blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. But one more thing from the Hill here. More Democrats want Biden to run in 2024, and Harris is the top choice if he doesn't says a poll. Now, I would have believed this if they left it if they cut it off at 2024 and didn't say that second part there. Like, you want me to know that you're lying to me? Tell me that Harris is the second choice. Really? Like, even if people wanted Biden to stay there, I am not buying for 1 second that if Biden doesn't do it, they're like, if not him, then obviously Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
No, not Biden.
Oh, God. I don't know, man. Like, who else do they have?
It's amazing that they're like floating out Gavin Newsom right now as like a big contender. Like, really? The guy that his own state hates? You think that, like, and that's how you know you're doing bad here, when you're like, you know, that guy that's the governor, and they tried to make him not the governor while he was the governor because he was so bad at being governor.
Use that guy. Yeah.
He'll get support. I mean, it worked out in the end. He's still governor, so the rest of the country, I'm sure, is bound to like him just as much.
Oh, man. Dude, the ads coming out of Newsom, like, we believe, you know, DeSantis doesn't believe in freedom. In California, we still believe in freedom. Move to California if you care about freedom or whatever. Just
yeah, it's like,
oh man,
who is that speaking to? Who is out there? No matter how much you hate DeSantis, you can't look at DeSantis and be like, he sucks, he hates freedom, and then look at Gavin Newsom and be like, he's the real choice of freedom. It's just beyond me how you. I mean, there must be somebody that stupid if they are. I'm sure they know more about the ad space than I do, and if they're spending that money, there's probably a good reason.
I feel like Penn Jillette is that guy, ironically, who's like, yeah, DeSantis, just dictatorial Hitler figure, and yeah, Gavin Newsom, pretty cool. He's basically Thomas Paine, you know. Yeah. I kind of feel like that's how he feels. But
man, I haven't heard from Penn Jillette, and so I used to listen to that guy like every single episode of his podcast and everything. Man,
yep,
damn,
sad.
Yeah, you atheists, you always go to shit. But
I know.
we eventually find out that you're all just a bunch of secret neocons. When's it going to be, Reed?
That one really.
When's it going to be?
I'm hiding that attribute very well so far.
In fairness, yes, you are. All right. Speaking of Reed, we're going to talk about Reed controversy right after this quick break from our very controversial sponsors like Asteros. Today's episode is sponsored by Asteros Cybersecurity Services. These days, organizations of all sizes are targets for cyber criminals, disgruntled employees, or even nation-state attackers. Asteros performs cybersecurity services providing expert guidance to help organizations defend against threats and protect their data. Asteros specializes in penetration testing, where they perform ethical hacking on networks, web apps, or organizations as a whole to simulate what an attacker would do and plug the discovered holes before anyone malicious finds and exploits them. Asteros also specializes in vulnerability management, security awareness training, phishing simulations, cloud security audits, compliance readiness assessments, and much more. As technology expands, it becomes easier and easier to run a business, but if your security is not growing along with your company, then you're going to run into problems. If you don't personally have a company of your own, definitely pass this information along to someone who does, because for a limited time, Asteros is offering companies an attack surface audit completely free. Let Asteros discover potential entry points to your network and how susceptible your company or organization is to cyber attacks. To learn more and to take advantage of this essential offer, just go to asteros.com/free. That's Asteros, ASTEROS.com/free. Today's show is sponsored by libertarian conspiratorial fantasy author Jack Casey. Whether you're looking for a 3-book fantasy sci-fi epic of love, death, and dystopian civil war like the Royal Green series, or just looking for a quick, dark, comedic, cultural commentary tale about a transsexual slayer of COVID regime vampires, like his latest book, WVW, Jack Casey Books will keep you adequately entertained and pondering the universe to your weird little heart's content. He's the Ayn Rand meets Stephanie Meyer meets somebody who actually writes entertaining books with his own unique little downer-esque flair. Find out more about Jack Casey Books at the aptly named jackcaseybooks.com. Once again, that is jackcaseybooks.com. And speaking of Jack Casey Books at jackcaseybooks.com, Jack Casey not only has another book that I'm going to make an updated version of that ad for soon, called WVW2. He has another book coming out, I think, later this month. I'm pretty sure. It's called WVW3. That's right. You guessed it. And I also told during the break, I told Reed, hey, this is going to last about a minute. If you want to take a quick pee break and come back, go for it. And he did. And now we get to stare at his microphone dangling there. Because he might have heard that I was going to be talking about him in the next segment and took this opportunity to just, I don't know, leave, as he does sometimes. But we are going to be talking about the Dave Smith, not the Dave Smith controversy. I mean, we are going to talk about a little bit about that. We're going to be talking about the New Hampshire tweets controversy just a bit, and more so the Dave Smith response to that, which Reed was a part of. And it would be great if Reed came back on the show sometime and did the show with, hey, Reed, hey, it's Reed.
What's up, man?
Hey,
I'm back.
Did you get it all out?
No, I got a cliffhanger, but I had to get back on the show, so I just went with it.
It happens. Are your headphones Bluetooth? Like, did you have them on the whole time?
I could hear the whole time.
Nice. So you're like, yeah, he's back, and I just don't care. I respect it. Reed, I don't think I've had you on since the whole Meghan McCain controversy, and I have dug into it a bit on this show. But from your, I don't know if you know who posted this tweet or anything, but if you do, feel free to say. And if you don't feel like saying, that's fine too. And you can protect whoever's identity however you feel like. But this tweet, this Meghan McCain crying over her father's casket, very deplorable, disgusting tweet that went way over the line, and I asked you to kindly please continue. But Reed, what did you think about that tweet?
I think it was great. I think that if you explain all the context and you have tons of exposition in your tweet, it's not going to go as viral. It's not going to catch as much attention. Right. And that was the number one criticism from people that I give a shit about. Like people who were just like, oh my God, this is so, like, I don't really care what you had to say. There were other people who were a little bit more constructive, and they said, this didn't have enough exposition. You didn't explain why you hate John McCain. This is going after his daughter, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, look, you can make the most concise expositional criticism of the McCain doctrine, and it'll get like maybe 1,000 likes if you're lucky. It will not make international news and, show up on the New York Post, show up on CNN, won't have the governor condemn the Libertarian Party and say that it shouldn't exist anymore. Like, I consider all of that to be great press. I think
said the guy who doesn't have a Twitter account right now. By the way, we need to double check check your Twitter.
I might have a Twitter account right now. We don't know if that's true or not.
Half my jokes for this segment are going to go right out the window if your Twitter account is a pack.
I know. But I'm going to point to someone else who doesn't have a Twitter account, who I think we should have learned a lot from, is Donald Trump. Like, he had a lot of bad policies, and he said a lot of things that were just straight up untrue on the stage.
Yeah.
But what I think is interesting about him, and we should be taking a page out of his book, is he realized he was going to be hated by the legacy media. So he was an agitator to generate all his own free news that he didn't have to set anything up for. And he knew he'd get wall-to-wall coverage if he just said something a bit outrageous. And
plain defense. He wasn't trying to explain himself. He was just throwing shit out there, knowing that they would run with it, with whatever it was. And I kind of understand that with this tweet. Like, my reaction to the tweet was exactly what I put in the comment section, which was like, this is way over the line. It's wildly offensive. You've gone too far. Like, I'm all for dark humor, but you've gone too far, something like that. And then ... keep going. Like, it's Twitter. I don't really care at the end of the day. Like, I understand some people's concerns and complaints, and we're gonna watch a couple clips from the No Way Jose interaction between you and Dave, which I'm sure will be fun for you. But great. Dave made some good points. Yeah, yes. I agree with both sides here. I agree with Dave a lot on a lot of this stuff. And I also...
Well, there are very fine people on both sides. So.
Absolutely, yes, and it's a lot like Charlottesville, but on this time between Reed and Dave, both sides are Nazis, so we can go ahead and I don't know. I do agree with both. Like, there's a part of me that's like, I understand people's concerns who this is affecting, but at the same time, this isn't new. Especially in New Hampshire, this is not like a new development that suddenly they got offensive tweets. That was the entire reason New Hampshire was being cooed back in the day. It was for spicy tweets. So, this one, I do agree with the point of some sort of message that is at least findable. Like, maybe do you ever think about? And I don't know if this is even a good idea. Just throwing it out there, but like putting a comment underneath with a link or something just ominous, a link to some terrible thing that she said or did or something like that, or something your father did. I don't know. Like, I do think that there's a way to concisely and still dark, dry, sarcastically make a point that more people get than this. Like, I think that's really the only issue here, is that most people didn't get it, and they're just like, these people are assholes.
No. I would not say most people. I would say maybe half of the people didn't get it.
Okay.
At most. I mean, it was
that
right
half
on the
was
line.
Really loud about it.
Of course.
I guess the other side was really loud about their disagreement as well. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was 11,500 likes and 11,500 comments. So it was kind of split right down the middle. And a lot of people thought it was really great. A lot of people thought it was really bad. And then some people were just kind of like, I don't know if this is a good idea or not. And then people who were on the fence ended up going either direction with it. Some people a couple days later were like, holy shit, this was so genius. I thought it was kind of crazy at the time. But then after seeing the meltdown of all the people, who have blue check accounts, who are just like talking about what a great war hero John McCain is, and seeing people who say they want mean tweets back with better policies suddenly getting outraged over this, like, to them, it was all beautiful. And then some other people were on the line, and then later on they're like, I don't think this was a great idea. So I think it was really split. I don't think it was really hard one way or the other.
Yeah, and if that is true, then I stand by my I don't give a shit stance of great. Like, even more so. Like, I don't care about Twitter as an entity necessarily, like, other than what it can do for you. And if your goal is to garner a bunch of media attention, success, you did it. Now we're gonna watch some of these clips from this episode. We're not gonna watch the whole. It was like a 40-minute segment of him just, I don't know, bending you over and spanking you, and you just kind of sat there with that dead-eyed hooker expression of yours.
Well, hold on. I think there's a little more. I think I did lose connection for about 5 minutes, right?
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. And I was also sick as a dog while we were doing this, and didn't even want to do the show. And I was convinced I had to come defend my side of the argument, so I showed up.
Nice. Honestly, I thought it was fine, and I don't know. We can talk about it more, but the person who sent it to me was like, dude, Reed looks like he's ready, like he's pissed off the whole time or something. I'm like, that's fucking Reed. Like, has Reed ever not looked pissed off? Like, okay. But yeah, I think there's some things to unpack here, and I'll give you a little bit more time to talk than Dave did. So here's this.
Oh yeah, let's that's great. Now,
before that, here's Dave.
So now I see Lydia from fucking the booker for Tim Pool's show, who has booked me and Clint and Scott Horton, and Michael Heiss, and you know what I mean, Maj Touré and Eric July, and put all of our like biggest, like people in front of 1 million listeners, just giving them their over and over and over again. And now she tweets something, and I see my people like trashing her because she didn't like one tweet. Like, do you guys have any sense of like fucking what are we trying to do here, man? This is so stupid.
So that's the first one. And I will say, I don't disagree with him. I think the thing that was more detrimental than the tweet itself was some of the people who were doing the dogpiling on, like, Spike Cohen, Lydia, and Justin Mosh and people. Like, if somebody, especially as libertarians, if somebody's like, I think this was stupid, okay, then you think it was stupid. I don't know. it's not like we're dogpiling on Reason magazine saying, vaccines are a great thing for liberty, or like vaccine mandates are a great thing for liberty. We're dogpiling on people that agree with us 99% of the way and are like Spike's a Mises Caucus guy, Lydia's into the Mises Caucus, like all the stuff that we support, these people were into. I mean, Justin Amash, not so much, but who knows? Who knows about that guy? But I do think it's I was more concerned, like more, I don't know if I want to say upset, but more off-put, I suppose would be the word, by the people, and some of them I'm good friends with, who were doing that kind of behavior than I was with the tweet being mean to Meghan McCain, because the tweet was being mean to Meghan McCain, not all of our good friend Spike Cohen. Like, it's like, what is the goal? So, I don't know. You got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with them too, actually. I think there's different levels of dogpiling. Kyle Matovic was bringing up tweets of all these different blue check marks who came and were condemning us, who had said, a couple weeks prior, like, boy, I could really take some mean tweets right now. And then they were flipping out. I think that's totally justified. Like pointing out if people are hypocrites,
right. So he was this Kyle guy, I'm not familiar with him, but he had posted, I could take some more mean tweets in my life, basically, and then when tweets come...
So like Lydia had posted that recently, and then a bunch of other conservative blue checks that came out condemning us. He went through all their profiles and found tweets of them saying they want mean tweets back and posted them right under their condemnation of us, which I thought was hilarious.
I'm fine with that.
That type of thing, I'm 100% for.
I doubt you'll find a tweet from Spike Cohen where he's like, I need more mean tweets in my life. So,
yeah, no, I mean, to be honest, I would even say Justin Amash, I was not upset with what he said. And I've said this all the way through. The way Justin Amash and Spike reacted was 100% expected.
Right.
And I didn't think it was uncalled for either. Like, Spike even made a tweet saying something like, look, if that's what you want to do, go for it. It's just not my style and I'm not going to do it, or something like that. And I don't care. That's fine. And then Justin Amash didn't defend Meghan McCain at all. He said something along the lines of like, this is a disgusting tweet. If you're going to be a libertarian, you got to lead with love. And I know John McCain is an awful, terrible war criminal that is worse than these tweets, but this isn't the way you do it, or something like that, which that is a constructive criticism.
Advice. I'm fine with that.
That's fine. It's the demanding that, we need to stop and we need to change our messaging and we need to get rid of people, blah, blah, blah. Like that type of stuff is crazy. And people demanding we be disaffiliated, stuff like that. That stuff like that coming from our own camp is really what I had an issue with. Anything outside of that, I didn't really care. But yeah, I was, when people are piling on Spike, I didn't think that was great. And we even made a tweet saying something along the lines of like, look, Spike and Justin are good libertarians and they just have a different approach when it comes to messaging. So I don't think it's fair to blame that on us because we didn't instigate that and we didn't encourage it either. We weren't retweeting or liking people attacking Justin Amash or Spike Cohen. We did like some tweets like hitting back at them and saying, no, this is why this is good. Retweeting people disagreeing with them. But none of the stuff where it was just like straight up insulting and mean and, uncalled for or whatever. So this was my biggest disappointment about this whole segment with me and Dave that we're watching here is I had a bad connection and I was sick and I didn't get to talk at all. And I felt like he was kind of straw manning my side. Like he was saying that, look, this is what I think. And it would be like, yeah, Dave, we agree with you though. None of us were egging people on to attack Lydia or Spike, and this just happened all the way through this thing, and I couldn't really respond because I either wasn't there or I just couldn't get a word in, so whatever.
Yeah, I do think this would have been more productive if it was like just you two and a moderator actually having a conversation. Nothing against Jose or Clint, obviously, but
no, they suck.
Yeah, I mean they're obviously they're whatever. They're toxic man babies, but with this, I did find myself wishing that you had a moment to speak, to defend yourself. Not that, I don't know, in that condition, you might not have been in the best place to, put it as you are now. So whatever. But Dave talks a lot. I'm sure he wouldn't disagree with that statement. And I love all these people. So nothing against Dave, obviously. But Here is.
Sure.
Let me see what this next one was. I think it might just be more of the dogpiling. Let me see.
It just drives me crazy, man. Is seeing like fucking like the people like going after our like allies.
Yeah.
Like that like I said before, like I gotta watch like Lydia or like these people getting like piled by my people on Twitter, like calling them all sellouts and making these fucking videos, you know, like even the things like, oh, let's shit on Spike Cohen and Justin Amash. Dude, Spike Cohen and Justin Amash, and like I have obviously some disagreements with both of them. More with Justin Amash. Spike is a genuinely just like, I think, great dude and a friend of mine, and I think probably most people.
Yeah, whatever. You don't agree. So
actually, I am Spike Cohen's chauffeur this weekend. I'm picking him up in Maryland and taking him to Washington D.C. and we're going on a mini road trip. So
does he know about your like anti-Semitism?
I haven't really talked to him about it yet. No one's told him yet, so he's a little in the dark on it. But
it's been very well kept secret. Yes. No. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, I know Spike's a pretty open-minded, cool dude. Like, he's fine with me saying the things that I say. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that he's fine with me saying the things that I say here. He's fine knowing that I say some unsavory things on my show. I'm sure he's not watching or listening ever, but he's been on my show many times and still working together and stuff. And he's like a brother. But I disagreed with him on when he came out. I don't know. I don't even know if I disagreed with him, because if I was asked like on a news broadcast, like, what are your thoughts on this thing that just came out? It's like one of your people saying something anti-Semitic, like the second tweet they brought up, and he's like, I disagree with that. Like, okay, that's really all that should have to be said. I didn't post it. It's not me posting it. It's not from our national account. It's not even from an account in a state that I'm closely linked to. I don't agree with it necessarily, but ask them what they think about it. So
yeah, no, I mean, I think this video that we're watching clips from, by the way, right now I think it's 6 weeks since we sent the tweets. I think something like, it's been a long time.
Yeah, I've talked about it way too many times since then, but having you on, I didn't have a choice.
Right. That video is from like 3 weeks ago, and I actually called Spike and talked to him on the phone like a couple days after everything went down, and everything was chill, and it was a private conversation, so I won't share anything he hasn't said publicly, but he did basically say the same things that he said publicly, which was like, I'm not in New Hampshire. This isn't like me saying this or the National Party saying this. I don't think an official account should say that type of stuff. And all right, cool, fine. Like, that's a fair criticism. That's a fine opinion to have.
You don't have to think that we should. That doesn't mean we're going to stop.
Right. Like I said in the video you just played, I agree. So
yeah,
I don't know.
And really all of this to me,
I feel like this was
like all of it seems like common sense to me. Like people who are pissed off at Dave for the things he said here, and I've had people reach out and be like, what do you think about Dave being such an asshole to New Hampshire? He owes them an apology. I'm like, no, he doesn't. Like, I agree with most of the things he says. He might not have been the most tactful about it, but this wasn't like the main concern is like, well, is he going to defend the Libertarian Party when he's in like the mainstream media? Like, this doesn't bode well or doesn't look good. It's like, dude, this is like iron sharpening iron. This is this is guys within the Libertarian Party having a conversation and discussing what the best messaging strategy is for the Libertarian Party. That's all this is. Like, this isn't MSNBC asking, what'd you think about the tweet? And him saying, I think that we would bring more people to liberty if those New Hampshire people got their shit together. Like, come on, this is...
Yeah. No, it is a different circumstance. And also, I mean, my biggest disappointment with how the segment went is it just didn't paint an accurate picture of how we feel in New Hampshire, because
you were sitting there silently.
Yeah, well, I didn't get a fucking
scowling.
We we never expected the national account to back us up, or Dave Smith or anyone to like come swooping in and say, yes, we are 100% behind this tweet. And we've made that very clear to every publication we've ever talked to. And like you said, it's not like this wasn't already the way things were in New Hampshire. This has been precedent from New Hampshire for well over a year. I mean, even McCain tweeting isn't a precedent. Like, they made the tweet about John McCain's brain tumor saving more lives than Anthony Fauci. And then, like, the they've deleted tweets too. Like I'm sure we'll get into the 6 million tweet or whatever. Like they deleted the one on Civil Rights Day about like black people owe America something or whatever. So it's just like, I don't know, this type of thing happens and everyone has mostly forgotten about it already. So it's just,
let's talk about it some more.
Twitter.
Make sure they don't forget.
Exactly.
Speaking of things that we would rather that they don't forget, that 6 million tweet. I mean, I talked to some people after. I've talked about it on my show, and I've talked to Heist. I've talked to a couple people. It's like, I think we all agree. We don't even have to talk about it at length. Go watch this episode, because your statement there, I completely agree with. Like, yeah, we realized that one kind of missed the mark, so we deleted it. Not that big a deal. Moving on. Okay, we didn't mean for it to just, like, the obvious issue with that one is just, like, not only was there no clear messaging, like that's Dave's main concern, is that there was no clear messaging in the McCain one. This one didn't even have, like, a point other than a joke, and that joke...
No, I wouldn't agree with that quite.
Okay.
So, actually, a couple weeks ago, the minimum wage tweets were going out again. It was the whole, like, $80,000 minimum wage, or you hate black people, or, like, $40 million minimum wage, or you're racist. And none of them had any quote tweets to them, right? None of them were quote tweeting Nina Turner saying $25 hour minimum wage, or whatever she said, you know, because she did that again, and it did spark off the exact same chain reaction. And we even commented on Nina Turner's tweet saying, last time we tried to parody this, we got in trouble. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't, no.
So there was a point. It was making fun of people who say, you need to support this minimum wage or you're this. That was the point we were making. But it did, like, obviously enough people took it the wrong way that it wasn't a successfully landing joke. So I don't think it was a bad tweet. I would make that tweet from my account, and I would have left it up.
Yeah, and that's why your account is allegedly still deleted.
That's why it's allegedly gone. But I think it's fair that it did not land well enough to be representing the Libertarian Party, and it probably shouldn't have been made. So I think everyone agrees on that.
Yeah, the issue is not that it's a joke, or not that there wasn't a point. The point is fair, and if it was a comment on something, or if it was quote tweeted, as painful as that might be, like, the problem is that
you can see why that's 20. You can see why that's hindsight, though. Like, if you go look at any of these other tweets that were going out a couple weeks ago, none of them are quote tweets, and everyone knows what they're talking about. And this was just like, oh shit, we should have been a quote tweet.
The problem is that if somebody's not there for the trend while it's happening, and they just see this in the future, which is all they're seeing now, it's just like, okay, so they're
Holocaust.
Are they going for that? Is that what they're doing? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, they wouldn't say interesting, obviously, because it takes much less than that for you to be labeled a Nazi these days. But we do have a couple more clips here. We do have to talk about Tyler Hobbs before we get out of here. God rest his soul. I'm pretty sure he died. I don't know. It's hard to say. But a couple more here. I don't remember what they are. Let's find out.
Like, look, you easily could have been like tweeted that picture, and the message could have been like, this is very sad. But you know what? All of the millions of victims of McCain's wars, blah, 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 didn't have funerals.
This is where I
like
disagree with him.
I don't know. I'm just off the top of my head, not constructing a tweet. But there could have been...
don't interrupt Dave Smith while he's talking.
I'm sorry.
A message that was still really bold, but also wasn't just going, happy holidays, here's a girl crying over her dead dad's corpse, you know? Or here's a guy. So I don't even know. I don't even understand how this is a fucking argument, to be honest. Like, this is just like... insane to me. But okay, fine. If that's what you think we should do, if that's
no, the next.
Did you hear that?
The next part is.
Did you hear me say, "Oh, are you guys still there?"
Yeah,
it's because the screen froze right there, and then I think within like 10 seconds I disappear and I'm gone for like.
Yeah, I knew you were having trouble. As icy as your normal death stare is, I was like, this is even out of character for Reed. He's going in hard. Yes. So yeah, I do agree with him to some point on this, in that, as I don't know, I go back and forth. Like, if somebody else wants to be mean on Twitter and that's working for them, I'm like, okay, great, go for it. That's fine with me. Like, I legitimately don't care, because it's just fucking Twitter, and I'm not in New Hampshire. You're not representing me really in any way. I don't take this. I was gonna say I don't take this libertarian stuff that seriously. I do,
Amen.
but I don't take this Libertarian Party stuff so seriously that it's cult behavior where if somebody does something, it has to impact or influence me and what I'm doing for it. But I do understand and he talks about like they went to bat for LPNH, and you can weigh in on that if you have thoughts, but they went to bat for you guys, and now it's kind of coming back being a problem. And more importantly, if you're going to be like this bastion of humanitarianism, and the first anyone's first introduction is like literally on surface level just laughing at a woman for her father dying, a war hero, a great patriot, veteran, whatever. It's just, yeah, there's some issues there, and I don't know how I feel about them, but tell me how to feel.
Yeah,
Reed.
yeah. So I think the problem is everyone wants a uniform version of messaging, and I don't think that's the way we should be at all.
I don't want a uniform version of messaging. To be, I mean, I feel like I'm pretty clear about that since I work with Jeremy Kauffman and Spike Cohen and all these people, Joe Jorgensen. Like, I don't need a uniform version of messaging. It's just, I think the more we look like complete and utter fucking dicks with no purpose and no reason.
Again, there's a purpose and a reason, and it works for a lot of people. I mean, that tweet had 11,500 likes, and it got us new donors at LPNH. It got a couple people to consider moving to New Hampshire. It got us international news where we were able to give full thought-out responses because we had several news publications directly contact us and ask us why we made the tweets. And even in the ones they didn't, most of the articles, if you read them, I actually wrote a whole Substack about this. So there was this tweet, and then there was the 6 million tweet, and then there was the Hitler Zelensky tweet. Did you see that one, or did you miss that one?
Was it just his face with the mustache on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I mean, it's just true.
Yeah. So again, like, you know, yeah, Zelensky is not a Nazi, right? He isn't personally a Nazi, but there are neo-Nazi factions in his government.
He's closer than we are, and people call us that all the time, so be it. He knows more Nazis than I've ever met in my life, because if it's one, it's more than I've ever met.
So all this to say, yes, there are some people who on the surface level, if this is all they're going to see, yeah, it's going to turn them off and they might never look at us again. That is undeniably true about some people, but it does inspire a whole bunch of different people to look at us and be like, whoa, what the fuck is up with these guys? Like, they're, you know, they hate John McCain. I hate John McCain too. Why do they hate John McCain? Oh, wow, this article says this is why they hate him. So, you know, I think that there's got to be different strategies. I don't think we should all be trying the same thing. I think if the National Party had tweeted this, or if Dave Smith had tweeted this, that would have been a mistake. Sure. I do like some edginess from Dave or from the National Party sometimes, but, you know, I don't think they should all be like us. I think it's actually good that you have some gay accounts. Like Texas is pretty lame. You know, they're not that interesting, and fine. Like, some people are going to be attracted to Texas's messaging. Other people are going to be attracted to New Hampshire's messaging. And I understand people who say, like, okay, that's fine, but that should be individuals, not official accounts. Like, if Jeremy Kauffman wants to be crazy, that's fine, but the New Hampshire Party can't be. And I'm sorry, but like, if Dave, even though he has way bigger account than we do, if he had tweeted out happy holidays with Meghan McCain, I don't think it would have gone nearly as viral. Yeah. It was because it was an official party account that was like, what the hell? Like, what are these guys doing? These guys are crazy. And the same with the Hitler Zelensky tweet. I mean, the Jerusalem Post was writing about us. And, you know, initially it was over the 6 million tweet, but then they did a follow-up article about the Zelensky tweet, and they're putting stuff in there. Like, these guys want to end all aid to Israel and to Saudi Arabia and to Ukraine and Taiwan. Like, these guys are nuts. Like, oh no, don't report that about us. So, like, you're gonna get the negative with the good. And I'm sorry, but if the 6 million tweet hadn't been sent out, they would have just used the Civil Rights Day tweet. They would have dug it up and been, oh, you should have seen what these guys said back then, or they would have dug up something Jeremy.
I mean, I have seen I have seen them thrown in there when these are being talked about already. So even with it,
I mean, they're going to find something. So, like, I think despairing that something missed the mark and got reported on in the mainstream news alongside stuff that got 100 times the amount of attention that was overwhelmingly good press, I think is just ridiculous. And so, like, I think my biggest disagreement with the Mises Caucus people in general, typically, not all of them, but a lot of them, is that we all need to be Ron Paul 2.0. And I just don't agree with that because we're not Ron Paul. And I've had Ron Paul on my show. And when I asked him what we should do, when I asked him what we should do, he said, you have to do whatever it is you do, like whatever you're good at and have fun with it. And that's what you got to do. So
Ron Paul told you, he said, you have to make anti-Semitic tweets. I mean, you have to do whatever it is you do. And that is what Reed seems to do. Or at least that's what someone told me.
Well, you can't deny that Ron Paul, not Ron Paul, but his newsletter led the charge. We were just following in Ron Paul's footsteps.
Leave Jeffrey Tucker alone.
Dude, I did have the idea that, the image that's the Ron Paul Institute tweeted it out accidentally once. It was a black guy and a Jewish guy and I forget and it's Marxism on the, I forget what the caption is or whatever. I found that image. I said we should tweet and say, hey, we're sorry, we accidentally meant to tweet this instead or something like that. I don't think it would have gone over well. But my thing is, dude, and I know we're gonna talk about, I know
they really want to get that joke because that's niche of the only people who even know about that are disgruntled former libertarians who are now wandering somewhere between Green and Democrat Party.
Yeah, well, I know we're going to talk about Tyler Hobbs, but we have to have a little bit of fun with this. People who are getting so butthurt over the Tyler Hobbs hacking, it's Jesus Christ, guys, come on, just fucking roll with it.
Stop spoiling it, Reed.
We can't. I'll stop spoiling it, but I feel the same way with a lot of this stuff. We, unless someone's actually being malicious, which none of the stuff from New Hampshire was malicious from anybody, and I don't think it was in the past either. Before I was even there. None of it has been malicious. Some of it hasn't worked as well as we'd hoped or whatever. But we're really experimenting over here because what libertarians have done hasn't worked. None of it has worked. I mean, we're just becoming more and more authoritarian. The closest thing to working has been the Free State Project. And if we want to make some national news and try to stir things up and get the conversation started, you got to be risky. And we were risky, and some of it worked and some of it didn't. And I don't know. I kind of think we're the tip of the spear trying to figure this out. And so instead of getting really angry at us and some people condemning us and wanting us, disaffiliated or removed or whatever, it's look, guys, we're trying to figure this out for you. So, what is allowable for you to say. So I don't know. That's pretty much encapsulates my thoughts on the whole thing.
Reed, you've completely changed my mind. And it is just a slight shift from where it was from I don't care to no, you're right. You're right. I agree with you. My show back in the day, and sometimes even now, I'm talking about the unity shit and the liberty unity shit that you were all about, like a queer back in the day or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know
back last year.
yeah.
Well, but just before you pontificate more, I still believe that core principle that if we're all after the same thing, we shouldn't be tearing each other apart, which is actually what I'm saying here. New Hampshire's after the same thing you guys are. So if you don't like what they're doing,
and some Democrats hate John McCain
better,
and some Republicans hate John McCain. And if we can agree on a thing, if we can at least find common ground on John McCain was a monster and his daughter isn't doing much better and deserves some ridicule, then that whoever you can get to agree with you on that, go for it and work with them on that. But there's a part of me that's I want to be the Spike Cohen unifier, the former Reed Coverdale, and there's another part of me then you go on Twitter and you find out that I don't necessarily always feel that way, and as the left would call it, a diversity of tactics. But when they say it, it means killing people or breaking out windows. That's their diversity of tactics and strategies there. Here it's we're talking about tweets, and the worst outcome that you have to that you have from that is you have to explain a little bit. You have to talk to somebody. Okay, well maybe they weren't going to talk to you before that happened. Maybe now that you have something to talk about and they have something to be pissed off about, maybe if you have sit down, cool your jets a bit, and come up with a rational explanation, it'll open more doors than it closes. But It's hard to say, and I'm open to the decentralized experimentation. I think that's what all this is. I think that's what I wish Twitter was more like that. That's my hope for Elon Musk Twitter, is that it will be more of a free range, old school internet land where people can say things that are offensive. And so it's I don't know. I'm fine with people disagreeing with it, and I'm also fine with y'all. Like, I won't lose sleep at night if you don't post any more offensive shit, but I also won't lose sleep at night if you do post more offensive shit. It's you guys. You can do your thing, and I'm here for the ride. Now there was
one last comment on that is
Sure.
My brother works here in New Hampshire on power lines, and he was talking with his crew a couple months ago about the Libertarian Party in New Hampshire, Jeremy Kauffman, and how I was like campaigning for him. And his crewmates said, well, your brother's not doing a very good job, because I've never heard of the Libertarian Party in New Hampshire or Jeremy Kauffman. And then the week after this tweet went out, my brother called me and said, holy shit, everybody on the job today is talking about Jeremy Kauffman and the Libertarian Party in New Hampshire, like posting some outrageous shit on Twitter or something. And I was like, hey, you told me no one was talking. So there you go.
You're talking now, motherfucker.
Strategy.
Yeah, I have a Republican friend in DC area who works in politics and stuff, and he's been hitting me up like, dude, this shit's hilarious. Like, he sent me the John McCain stuff, or like he sent my own tweet where my response to it, he was like, you had me there for a second. Like, there are some people behind the scenes who aren't allowed to say, yeah, this is pretty funny. So calm down, people. It's Twitter. But one more thing on this, because Dave made some points that some people might find objectionable, and but he did say at least. Oh, the most objectionable thing actually was in this last clip that I cut it off before.
If that's what you think we should do, then fine. Have fun with your fucking 16 people who really believe in fucking anarcho-capitalism with you. Fine. Okay. I guess you guys know how to fucking start a movement, so go start it. But
to me, that was the most off-putting, because what does that mean? The anarcho-capitalist guy who has anarcho-capitalist friends saying that there's 16 anarcho-capitalist people who agree with you?
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the most. I think I was disconnected at this point, right?
Yeah, probably. It looks like it.
Frozen and like can't hear anything.
Either disconnected or disassociating, or like just out-of-body experience.
We have different strategies. Like the Libertarian Party in New Hampshire's strategy. Oh yeah, see, there I go. I'm gone. Is not to wake up tens of millions of people or whatever. Like, I know that's Dave's strategy, and we support him in that. But he's got to understand, like, New Hampshire's strategy is specifically different. We're creating like a libertarian homeland, and we're trying to be repulsive to non-liberty people. Like, I mean, if you see the ads we put out, we are trying to really grind people's gears who don't agree with libertarianism. And there's people on Twitter who are embarrassed to admit they're from New Hampshire because of us. Like, that is totally what we're going for. We're trying to make people who don't believe in liberty uncomfortable, who still live here, and then try to signal to people around the country who do believe in liberty to move here. And it's working. So it's like, look, Dave, we're not like, this wasn't meant to kneecap you, and this wasn't meant for us to prove to you that we have a better strategy than you do for creating a nationwide movement, because we're just not on the same path. We're 100% supportive of what you're doing, and we'll try to help you out. But at the same time, like, what we're doing is different, and we're not like claiming to be better at what you're trying to do than you are. We're just in two completely different lanes going for a similar objective, but not the same route. So yeah, that was kind of the most offhand comment he made, I think. But
agreed.
Oh well.
CD says, no, Dan, you don't want to bear the cross of unity. And you're right. I don't want to bear the cross of unity. I want other people to bear the cross of unity. I'm saying I would unify with people who agree with me on things. I'm not saying I will go out of my way to unify with other people. Like, if there's common ground, I'm down to chat about that common ground. And if there's slight disagreements like there is here, then great. Have the conversation. But whatever. While Reed was away, though, in this conversation, Dave said the most poignant and obviously brilliant thing that he said in the entire time. And Reed, have you gone back and listened to what he said while you were gone?
I think so. Is this about how great a person I am, or which part is it? Well, he said the most poignant, brilliant thing he said in the whole thing. So
Yes, and it was this.
No.
But obviously, I love Reed, and I fucking
There
Reed's
it is.
my guy. I've done everything I can to fucking promote Reed. I love Jeremy Kaufman. I think the "War is Gay" commercial was to me the best piece. That was the best piece of like libertarian messaging because it was so clear.
Yeah, the
right?
video
It's
work
like,
was
it's
a
so
little
clear
meh.
what the joke is, and if you're gonna use like humor, that's the way to do it. It's like
What he just said there, some people may not realize what he said there. There was some subtle context there that you must be aware of. He just said that I'm better than Reed Coverdale.
Ooh. Yeah, but I'm your fault, so this doesn't really matter.
Right. And also, he didn't mention my name because nobody ever...
Again.
The one rule of shadow government is nobody talks about shadow government, except
That's
for
right.
shadow government, and then nobody believes him. But... yes, I do think that there's something to be said there. Like with the "War is Gay" thing, I've said this a million times on the show. Like Jeremy Kaufman, when I sent him the first cut, he was like, "I don't know, I don't want to," because like I came up with like all the text and even the "War is Gay" title and everything, and his first response was, "I don't know if I want to use gay. I don't like using gay as a pejorative." Like, are you telling me that it's my job to make Jeremy Kaufman worse because this joke is perfect? And it's going to stay. And but with that, like the "War is Gay" thing, it grabs your attention because it grabs your attention in the same way as the Meghan McCain thing, where you're like, whoa, what the hell? But with it being like a 2-minute video or whatever, it tells the joke a little bit further. I understand that you can't do that with a tweet, but I don't know. Maybe there's something that you could have done slightly better. That's all I'm saying. Something in the messaging of like just an extra 3 or 4 words that would have still sounded snarky on the surface, but would have given a little bit of a wink to the people who are going to agree with you. But again, I agree with you anyway, so it is what it is.
I think the McCain tweet and the Zelensky tweet are perfect. I think the 6 million one missed. So the 6 million one, if it had been a quote tweet, I think we would have left it up regardless of criticism. It just was missing that unfortunately crucial element. But the other two, you could have added more context, but I don't think they would have had the same virality that it did without it. Like, I think ambiguity actually is an interesting tool that you can use. You know, it almost lets people extrapolate what they want from something you're saying and proves who they really are. You know, so it's an interesting thing to observe. So I stand by the McCain and the Zelensky tweet. By the way, I'm not going to say which ones, but I did not make all these tweets. I know people think it was all me. It was not all me. It was a group effort, and I didn't come up with all the ideas. So there you go.
Well, I know about 5 people that it could have been, so I'll just name them all right now.
Right?
Yes. I'll just name them all, so you'll know in one way or another.
There's actually fewer than 5, but
yeah. So we can move on from that. That happened, and as you said, really nobody cares at this point. Like all this stuff blows over so fast. It moves on to something completely different, and then we're pissed off or celebrating the same people or different people for something different. Either way, nobody's really thinking about the Meghan McCain thing right now, which is why we shouldn't have spent this much time on it. But here we are. Now, Dave Smith, shortly after, though, went on Joe Rogan and said a bunch of things that I'm not going to play here. It was fantastic. It was 3 hours of greatness, other than the time that he took, as they always do. Let's take a break to talk about sports in the middle of our nerdy politics shit. No, I'm here for the nerdy politics shit. Stop talking about sports. But, yeah, he talked about Russia and Ukraine. He talked about Mark Zuckerberg, which is great. Dave Smith got the opportunity to say all the things that we all wanted to say after Joe Rogan interviewed Mark Zuckerberg, and it was fantastic, and I would highly recommend people watch that. But I'm not going to play the clips right now because you've probably already seen them all, and we're getting a little long in the tooth here. So the reason I bring this up is because right after that, like 2 days after that, the Libertarian Party Twitter account was insurrected by some notorious NFT salesman named Tyler Hobbs.
Correct.
Yes. And that's a thing that happened. And that's mostly the extent of the story. But we do have to get into it a little bit. There was some... Now, if you're looking for media coverage, there was some media coverage on this terrible, terrible incident. There was
there?
very reputable media like independentpoliticalreport.com who just wrote up a story and said breaking Libertarian Party official Twitter account compromised, and then it just has the details on it. See, here's Tyler Hobbs. Here's what happened. There it is. That's
By
really
the way, is there
the extent of the
anything
story.
illegal that he did, or was his deal totally legal?
It wasn't him. Karen Ann Harlos on her stream said that they have confirmed that it was not him, and he's not happy about it either. There's 2 victims in the situation. Tyler Hobbs did not hack the account. I don't
know if he's really a victim in this situation. I mean, that's kind of free advertising, right?
It is, but I think there were also like fake scammer links for his stuff on the Twitter account. So I'm sure he was getting. I would like to think no. Let me rephrase that. I'm betting there were some people that got disappointing returns on their investment, but they were already trying to invest on NFTs, so they probably got the exact same outcome that they were going to get anyway. Just screenshot that JPEG and call it your NFT, and then save your money, people. But what do I know? What are your thoughts on NFTs, Reed? Do you think they're completely stupid?
I don't know nearly enough about them to talk about them. All I can say is when this happened, the Libertarian Party in New Hampshire, we were talking about creating an NFT of Meghan McCain crying over a coffin and tweeting it out saying, "We weren't hacked." But it would have been great, but we didn't jump on it soon enough, so
yeah,
the joke has sailed.
Yeah, and there were some people that were taking this opportunity to dogpile on, and one Martha Bueno weighed in and said in Libertarian Party News, and this is like I don't personally have anything against Martha. I've worked with her and for her on multiple things, but I'm just gonna read her tweet in the Libertarian Party News. The at LP Nationals Twitter has been hacked by some dude named Tyler Hobbs. LP Mises Caucus, Angela McCardle. Congratulations on finally destroying what was left of the LP. RIP Libertarian Party. # Libertarian Party hacked. Now, as one might expect, she may have jumped the gun a bit.
About the end of the Libertarian Party part?
Yeah, like just immediately going to, well, you guys, like the people who were like, oh, Twitter, you guys care about the Twitter keys? That's stupid. Twitter's stupid. Oh, podcasters, whatever. And then they're like, oh, the Twitter got taken down, or you lost your podcast, or this got like, oh, good job. That's a big deal. You guys should have held on to that tighter. And according to Karen Ann Harlos, or at least what she's heard, this is like hearsay through hearsay, but I don't know. I don't have any inside information other than what Karen Ann said on her stream, but she said that with everybody dogpiling on, talking about how, the password must have just been taxation is theft or something, apparently there was a lot of authentication processes to get into the Twitter. It was not just, or what is it, 2-step authentication? Something like that. They had all the things, and it got hacked. So it is what it is.
All of the things, yeah.
And as Jack Casey was saying, like I actually found out through Jack Casey, he was like, I asked him about one of his tweets that didn't make sense, and he was like, you don't know? No. And then I went and looked, and I was like, oh shit, I've got so many jokes. Like, I love the LP right now, and I love their Twitter account right now. And also, if it gets hacked, I'm going to make jokes about it. I'm not going to, dogpile on them. I'm not going to get scared for the party. Like, thinking that the Twitter, even if it was removed, it would be the end of the party is absolutely retarded. And yeah, I was just like, oh, this is hilarious, and we should treat it as such.
Yeah, well, here's my whole thoughts on this. I think that people take Twitter way too seriously, and they don't talk to people about libertarianism in their own real lives. Like my family, who, is tangentially attached to all this stuff because of me, they didn't know anything about it. Like they didn't know anything about the Libertarian Party account being hacked for 4 or 5 days or whatever it was. And most of my fan base didn't know about it either. They found out.
I didn't know about it until somebody told me.
I mean, dude, nobody fucking cares about this. So this is another thing. I don't know if you'll agree with me on this, but in 2020, Joe Jorgensen's Twitter was awful. But the problem was she wasn't good either. It wasn't just her Twitter. Like, she just sucked. Like, she was boring as fuck to listen to. She never gave good examples that people could gravitate toward to,
One giant Switzerland. What about that?
It's just awful. But I thought Spike was really good for most of the campaign. Like, when he came to Utah and spoke up in Salt Lake City at the Capitol building, I thought it was great. It was a very inspirational speech. And everywhere he was going, he was giving good talks about stuff. And his Twitter kind of sucked. Like, I guess he had some like shitlib people running it at the time who he wasn't really monitoring that closely or whatever.
Sure.
But we made such a fucking huge deal out of that. And I don't mean the Mises Caucus, but just like a lot of libertarians in general made such a big deal about the Twitter. And I almost felt like the Reno reset was all for taking back a Twitter account. And it's like, guys, if this is what this decentralized revolution is about getting the keys to a Twitter account, like, we need to quit. Like, this is the most valid criticism the post-libertarians have of the Mises Caucus and the Libertarian Party, is like, people were willing to invest so much. And I do believe a lot of them were doing it just to see different tweets from LP National. And that's stupid.
Well, different messaging in general. And then the quickest way to get that messaging is through tweets, not through videos and shit.
But I think Twitter only matters as much as you make an impact beyond it. Like, because Twitter is not a real place, right? So if it's all in the echo chamber of Twitter, if it never makes it anywhere else and doesn't affect people's real lives, it doesn't matter. And a lot of people's Twitter does make it to real life. Like, Libertarian Party in New Hampshire, for example, we definitely made it beyond Twitter.
Right.
So whatever impact you're having, like, I would look, what impact are you having beyond this non-existent plane on the internet?
Yeah.
And so I think this was a healthy exercise for us to go through as a movement, to have our Twitter account hacked for a few days. Because it's like, all right, guys, did that really make a big if that really made like a huge detrimental difference in your life, that's a problem.
Right.
Because you shouldn't be relying on a Twitter account to, be making changes in your own life and changes with people around you and pushing your local candidates or whatever. Like, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. And it really wasn't for a lot of people. And then other people were like, oh my God, this is the end of the world, on both sides. Like, people who are critics of the new leadership and then people who are supportive of the new leadership. A lot of people on both sides are losing their fucking shit over this. It was like, guys, Jesus Christ, it's a Twitter account. It's going to be okay. It's all going to work out in the end. So I actually am kind of glad this happened. It was a good learning curve for a lot of people in the liberty movement.
Yeah, and everybody's like, "Well, as soon as the Mises Caucus gets hacked." It's like, well, did you ever think that it's possible that your Twitter account, back when it was your Twitter account, just wasn't worth hacking? Like the old LP Twitter account? Like, who wants that shit? Nobody cared. But it was interesting that it happened right after the Dave Smith thing and him giving the big call out for people to go sign up for the LP on Twitter and everything. That does suck. And as a conspiracy theorist, it makes my antenna go up just a little bit, where it's like, well, we don't know who did it, and it just happened out of nowhere. And even the guy whose name is on the thing, like, nobody benefited from this happening unless their only goal was to screw over this. Yeah,
no, it's true.
But more to your point on how nobody cared except for us, and that's giving the benefit of the doubt that we cared, which we don't.
Right.
I got on DuckDuckGo because I was just looking for articles to pull up. Surely somebody's reported on this, and we had that one earlier that looked super legit. The only other one I found quickly was this. This is from deadobituary.net. And it says, dies dead death obituary. In Libertarian Party news, the LP National's Twitter has been hacked by some dude named Tyler Hobbs at LP Mises Caucus at Angela 4 LNC chair. Congratulations on finally destroying what was left of the LP. RIP Libertarian Party. LP
Is this
hacked.
Written by Martha Bueno?
It does sound a little familiar, doesn't it?
It does.
No, I don't think so if you look at this, it just has the tweet by Martha Bueno, and it even has her name on it. I don't think she posted it. This is like a website. It says obituary and celebrities death news. So it's just like whatever, a blog about celebrity deaths. And I don't know if it like auto generates things when it seems like somebody dies. But her saying maybe R.I.P. the Libertarian Party, like this thing is buggy as shit too. Like this whole freaking website is trying to make me download
Twitter's
things.
gonna get your Twitter's gonna get hacked now after reading that.
Yeah, that was another thing. A lot of people hit me up and they're like, "Dude, I think your Twitter is hacked," because I immediately switched my profile picture to Tyler Hobbs and then changed my name to Tyler Hobbs and shit. I made it like the LP system is down. Did you?
Yeah, we were not Tyler Hobbs, LP New Hampshire or something, and we changed the profile picture. And so many people were like, "Oh my god, LP New Hampshire got hacked too." It's like, you guys are dumb.
Oh boy, guys, just do you think if somebody hacked it, they would make jokes about it being hacked? I don't know. Maybe they would, but
by the way, for 4 days, LP New Hampshire was the largest Libertarian Party account in the world on Twitter.
That is true. I mean, it took taking down an empire to make it happen, but sometimes you gotta break an empire. You gotta crack a few empires to.
So there's
make an
your
omelet.
Conspiracy. Maybe New Hampshire did it just to shine in the sun for 4 days as the largest account. Could have been.
I like that. Saying the quiet part out loud. I hear that's based. That's what the kids are saying. Now, in this, it just has her tweet, and then it goes on to say, "We have not been able to verify this story, and therefore cannot say for sure that the above-mentioned individual is dead. This is a developing story. The post cannot in any way serve as an obituary or death notice for the above-mentioned individual."
Tyler Hobbs or LP National? Do you think there's some guy named LP National running around? Or?
I think they just got the RIP Libertarian Party, and then it auto-generates something out of that. Maybe it just auto-generates from RIP blue checkmark name, and that's all it took. Because
boy, we could really get some news story going with LPNH because we got a blue checkmark. We just got to say RIP whatever we want. And
yeah, RIP Meghan McCain. Now,
more international news.
We're going way too long here, but we do have to mention, and I spoiled it a little bit earlier, but to all you people who were celebrating Ding Dong, the evil witches of the Mises Caucus are dead. Unfortunately, surprise, like
they're not dead.
They're back, because duh. And why would you, like, it's beyond me why somebody would post something so arrogant. No, like, if you're not stupid, you have to know within, like, 48 to 72 hours, this thing's going to be back up and running. And your tweet's still out there saying, "Oh, see, you guys, you suck. And the party's dead because you lost your Twitter account." And then here we are. And now our party is on an obituaries column.
Yep.
Thank you, Martha.
Pretty bad. Yeah. It's amazing how much people think Twitter controls real life. And, you know, it's one of the beauties of being banned off of Twitter. You realize how little it matters. You know, not having a Twitter account until 2020 and then getting banned within 2 years, not having it anymore. You just realize how nothing fucking matters that happens on Twitter. Unless it makes it beyond.
Yeah. And as much as, like, this whole day, this whole episode has been a roller coaster of emotions for me because, yes, the Libertarian Party got their account back, and that makes me happy, sure. But then they had one chance for that one first tweet back. And what did they say? They said, "We're back in business. And after seeing at Tyler Hobbs' work, we're thinking of getting into the NFT game." Thinking face. Okay, Dad.
Hey, you liked it. So
okay,
it was
shut up. Fuck you.
You forgot to remove that like before you brought that up on screen.
I don't care. Like, I'm glad that they're back. But
retweet it too. Just fucking own the whole thing.
But damn, like, what a dad joke. I mean, your first tweet back is a dad joke right after you got done scolding LPNH for being too base, and your first tweet back after getting hacked is a fucking dad joke. Come on.
Oh yeah. What a dad joke. There it is.
There. Boom. Don't care. All right. Well, it's Twitter, and we've talked about it for like an hour because it doesn't matter. It's not real life. So let's talk about it for an hour.
It matters so little that we talked about it for an hour in real life.
That's right. That's right. I'm going to keep this party going. Reed, if you want to tap out, don't say it now because we want to trick the people into thinking that you're coming to the after party that we're going to start here in a minute. But
okay. Here, let me try this. I'll be there, Dan, with you the whole time.
Thanks, Reed. It'll be fun. Reed, it's always a blast, man. Keep doing what you're doing, whether I approve of it or not. Just keep doing it. And Tell people where they can or can't or might in the next 24 hours be able to find you.
Yeah, well, if Elon gets on it, maybe I'll be back on the Tweeter bird. But yeah, I am everywhere except Twitter, really. I have a link tree, which is showing on the screen right there. Just go there and follow me everywhere. And I have all the useless platforms that nobody uses too, like Gab, Getter, Float, all of those. So I'm new on Rumble, joined there a couple weeks ago. Every YouTube video cycles over to Rumble, and I'm also on Odyssey and then all the major podcast platforms. And yeah, not Twitter. Still suspended. Gay.
Mm-hmm. Now on Gab, are you like flaming anti-Semitic because you know that you can get away with it? I'm kind of afraid to look.
So the funny thing is, like, before I got into politics, I was never, ever accused of being anti-Semitic. It wasn't until I started doing politics. So
That's how that goes.
Yep.
That's how it goes. And that seems
nobody loves the Jews more than me. So.
Nobody does. Nobody loves them. More than me. Oh, the Jews were trending on Twitter yesterday. Maybe we'll talk about that in the after party. Reed, thanks for being here.
Of course.
All right, guys, thank you for tuning in, and hey, quite a few of you stuck around. This was a long one, but it had to happen. And really, that entire second half should have been an episode of its own. But I'm only doing this once a week, so sometimes it becomes long, and by sometimes I mean all the time. Now, guys, do go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/thesystemsdown, because this party will continue with or without Reed, and with or without his Twitter account. We're gonna do it. And we're going to talk about that new Billy Eichner movie, the really gay one. We're talking about that and some other gay stuff. Not that it's all whatever. I don't know. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it, and it's going to get uncomfortable. So if you want some of that, go pay me for it at patreon.com/thesystemsdown, and I will be back here tomorrow morning for 2 scoops, and back here next Wednesday for another one of whatever this was. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, please continue to question everything, stay uncomfortable, and I'll talk to you then. Bye-bye. Nope.
Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here inside the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong.